On Monday, March 31st, a conservative media company called Newsmax IPO'd on the New York Stock Exchange. In the IPO, they sold 7.5 million shares for $10 each. This valued the company at a little less than $1.3 billion. On the second day of trading, Newsmax's stock surged to a high of $265 per share. This gave it a fully diluted market cap of $34 billion. This made the company more valuable than Fox News parent Fox Corp, which has a market cap of $24 billion. The share price has since given up most of its gains. As of the time of recording this video, Newsmax's share price is $46, giving it a market cap of about $6 billion. Nevertheless, this is still a big valuation for a conservative news channel that seemingly popped up out of nowhere over the past few years. In this video, we'll look at the meteoric rise of Newsmax, and what this could mean for Fox News' monopoly position in conservative cable news. Newsmax was founded by the American journalist Chris Rudy in 1998. At first, it was an online-only news outlet that tended to take a conservative view on political issues. At this point, the internet was a relatively new thing, so an online-only media outlet was a bit of a novelty. Technically, Newsmax can be considered as a product of the 1990s .com boom. Throughout the 2000s and early 2010s, Newsmax continued to operate as an online-only publication. Their website has always been free to view. The company generated substantially all of its revenue from advertising. You can't generate that much revenue from web advertising alone. So during this period, Newsmax's revenue was relatively low, and they were only a marginal player in the media business. In the early 2000s, Fox News established itself as the most watched cable news channel in America. They achieved this success by taking unapologetically conservative views when covering politics. Almost all of the other major news channels had a more liberal bias, at least this is a wide-held perception. Liberal viewers are split up across many different news channels, but for conservative viewers there's only one game in town, Fox News. Fox's effective monopoly on right-wing cable news allowed it to become hugely profitable. Chris Rudy believed there is demand for a second conservative cable news channel. With Newsmax being a long-standing, albeit smaller player in conservative media, they were in a good position to break Fox's monopoly. So in 2014, Newsmax launched its own live news channel called Newsmax TV. Their first distribution was with the satellite television distributors DirecTV and Dish. Generally, pay TV distributors pay carriage fees to the networks that produce the content. In the beginning, Newsmax was not very well known, and it was not clear if Newsmax TV would be at all successful, so DirecTV and Dish were not willing to pay them any carriage fees. Newsmax essentially gave its programming to the distributors for free. Their only source of revenue was from the commercials shown in between segments. They remained almost completely ad-supported. At first, Newsmax TV generated minimal revenue, but with their widespread distribution on DirecTV and Dish, they were able to slowly gain a base of regular viewers. Nielsen is the main company that keeps track of television viewership numbers. Up until 2020, Newsmax's viewership was too low to even be on Nielsen's radar. In 2020, Newsmax TV finally became popular enough to be tracked by Nielsen. So this is the first time we know their viewership numbers. Primetime viewership lasts from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Monday through Saturday, and 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday. People tend to start watching the news a little bit earlier on Sundays. In 2020, Newsmax TV had on average 135,000 primetime viewers each day. By 2024, their primetime viewership had reached almost 300,000. This makes Newsmax one of the biggest live news channels in America. In 2024, Fox News was the highest-rated cable news channel with 2.47 million average primetime viewers. MSNBC is a distant second with 1.22 million primetime viewers. CNN has 685,000. Fox, MSNBC, and CNN are sometimes referred to as the big three cable news channels. With that being said, we don't know the viewership numbers for ABC News, CBS News, or NBC News because Nielsen lumps those in with non-news content shown by those networks. So we're only able to look at pure-play news networks. Of the pure-play news networks, Newsmax TV is now in the number 4 position, behind CNN and ahead of CNBC. So how was Newsmax able to grow so quickly? Being America's premier conservative news channel, it's unsurprising that Fox News has taken a generally pro-Trump stance, especially after he won the Republican nomination in 2016. But during his first term, Fox's coverage of Trump was not universally positive. In addition to their conservative mainstays like Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, they also employed some more moderate anchors, including Chris Wallace and Shepard Smith. Despite taking a broadly pro-Trump stance, Fox didn't want to appear like a propaganda outlet. To maintain their image as a trustworthy and objective news source, Fox allowed for some dissenting opinions amongst its anchors and commentators. During the 2020 US presidential election and subsequent events, this lack of commitment would come back to bite them. During their live coverage of the 2020 election, Fox News was the first of any news network to call the state of Arizona for Biden. Arizona was a key battleground state. After Arizona was called for Biden, the probability of Trump winning re-election declined substantially. The decision to call Arizona for Biden was not political. It was a statistical decision based on the vote counts that had been published so far. Nonetheless, the decision became very controversial, so much so that the director of Fox News' decision desk, a man who usually works behind the scenes, had to come on air to give an explanation.
Absolutely. We've made it after basically a half hour of debating. Is it time yet? Because it's been clear for a while that the former vice president is in the lead in Arizona and was most likely to win the state. It has been in the category that we call knowable but not callable for about an hour. We finally called it. Right now, yes, there are some outstanding votes in Arizona. Most of them are coming from Maricopa, where Biden is currently in a very strong position. And many of them are mail-in votes, where we know from our Fox News voter analysis, Biden has an advantage. We don't know exactly how many mail-in votes there are. But what I think we've heard from the White House is that they are expecting to get that they need just to get 61% of the outstanding vote, and there are 870,000 outstanding votes, and they'll be getting that. That's not true. The reality is that they're likely to get only about 44% of the outstanding votes that are there. We're right now sitting on a race that is Biden at 53%, Trump at 46%. I'm sorry, the president is not going to be able to take over and win enough votes to eliminate that 7-point lead that the former vice president has.
The events of January 6, 2021 made things even worse. Many anchors and commentators on Fox made very critical statements about January 6th. This was viewed by many as an implicit criticism of Donald Trump himself. There's a company called Dominion which makes some of the machines used for voting. In the aftermath of the 2020 election, one of Fox's anchors, Tucker Carlson, hosted a segment which entertained allegations of voter fraud involving Dominion's machines. Dominion sued Fox News for defamation. In 2023, Fox agreed to pay an eye-popping $787 million settlement to resolve the lawsuit. Shortly thereafter, Carlson left Fox. While the details of Carlson's separation from Fox were not publicized, it is safe to assume that it had something to do with the Dominion settlement. The network likely viewed Carlson as too unpredictable and difficult to control. While he was one of their biggest stars, he also cost the company almost $1 billion for the Dominion lawsuit. Many of Carlson's supporters viewed Fox's decision to fire him as a betrayal. It showed that Fox was not fully dedicated to the MAGA cause. Fox was in a difficult position. On the one hand, they didn't want to alienate their audience, who are mostly Trump supporters. On the other hand, allowing their hosts to repeat some of Trump's claims about the 2020 election could expose the company to legal liability. In hindsight, we know that Trump remained the undisputed thought leader of the American conservative movement to this day. But in the days following January 6th, this was not at all obvious. Many people who previously supported him began to criticize his actions. There appeared to be a real possibility that Trump would retreat into obscurity, and the Republican Party would move on. From Fox's perspective, they didn't want to hitch themselves too closely to what appeared like a sinking ship, so they were not nearly as supportive of Trump as many of his supporters would have liked. Newsmax, on the other hand, maintained unapologetically pro-Trump stances, even at the height of the controversies. Just like Fox, Newsmax also faced defamation lawsuits related to their coverage of the 2020 election. In March of 2020, they paid $40 million to settle a lawsuit from Smartmatic, another company that makes voting machines. They are also facing a lawsuit from Dominion. The trial was originally scheduled for September of 2024, but this appears to have been postponed. As of the time of recording this video, the Dominion lawsuit remains outstanding. Unlike Fox, Newsmax did not fire any of its hosts. Newsmax established itself as the most steadfast supporter of the MAGA agenda. Many die-hard Trump supporters started abandoning Fox for Newsmax. This can largely explain the surge in viewership Newsmax has experienced since 2020. In the beginning, Newsmax TV was willing to supply its live news to pay TV distributors for free, only making money through advertising. By 2023, Newsmax had grown big enough that they felt they were finally entitled to carriage fees. One of their biggest distributors, DirecTV, initially balked at paying Newsmax any money. At this time, Newsmax was also broadcasting its live news channels for free on its own website and other ad-supported streaming platforms. Why should DirecTV pay for something that Newsmax is giving away for free elsewhere? Newsmax agreed to cease the free online simulcast of its cable news channel. In its place, the network introduced Newsmax Plus, a subscription-based streaming service offering access to its live content. Additionally, they launched Newsmax 2, a free ad-supported channel which provides headline rundowns and best-of clips from the main Newsmax channel. It is a lower quality experience compared to the main Newsmax channel. Following these concessions, DirecTV was willing to start paying carriage fees to Newsmax, but the carriage fees have thus far been pretty small. For the 6 months ended June 30th, 2024, which is the most recent data we have available, Newsmax generated $13.5 million from pay TV carriage fees. They generated $49 million from advertising, mostly from pay TV. So in total, they generated $62.5 million of revenue from pay TV. They also have a few other sources of revenue, such as subscription fees for Newsmax Plus, but pay TV represents the vast majority of their total revenue. In that same period, Fox News generated $2.15 billion of carriage fees and $624 million from advertising. This gives Fox News $2.8 billion of pay TV revenue. So Fox's pay TV revenue is 44 times greater than Newsmax. In 2024, Fox News' primetime viewership was approximately 8 times greater than Newsmax TV. So how is Fox News able to generate 44 times more revenue than Newsmax, despite only having 8 times more viewers? The key difference is in the carriage fees. Fox News was able to negotiate massive carriage fees with the pay TV distributors. Newsmax has thus far only managed to negotiate minimal carriage fees. The pay TV industry has been declining over the past decade. Why pay $80 a month for cable or satellite TV when you can subscribe to Netflix for a fraction of the cost? Due to the superior value proposition of Netflix and other streaming services, the number of pay TV subscribers has fallen precipitously. This trend is expected to continue for the foreseeable future. Today, the only reason to still subscribe to a pay TV plan is for live news and sports programming. This is the last thing that is not offered by streaming services, at least not in their base plans. The pay TV distributors are faced with steadily declining revenue. They realize that to maintain any value proposition at all, they need to prioritize live news and sports. To understand this dynamic, we just need to look at the relative performance of two publicly traded companies, AMC Networks and the Fox Corporation. AMC Networks produces general entertainment programming. For example, they produce The Walking Dead and Breaking Bad. The Fox Corporation is the parent company of Fox News. Over the past 5 years, AMC Networks has seen its share price decline by 70%, while Fox Corporation has more than doubled. As total pay TV revenues decline, the distributors have continuously reduced the carriage fees they are willing to pay for general entertainment programming, but they are still willing to pay large and even increasing carriage fees for live news. As the industry declines, live news can take a larger slice of a shrinking pie. Fox News in particular has benefited from this dynamic the most. Let's suppose you're a liberal viewer. You would be equally happy to watch either MSNBC or CNN or a handful of other left-leaning channels. Because there are so many options, the negotiating position of each individual left-wing channel is not very great. Fox News enjoys a much more enviable position. Many conservative viewers are only interested in Fox News. If a cable distributor doesn't include Fox News in their programming, conservative viewers won't even consider subscribing to that package. Thus, Fox News is able to command disproportionately high carriage fees. Even despite its recent growth, Newsmax is still much smaller than Fox News in terms of viewership. They have not yet been able to threaten Fox News' negotiating position. If Newsmax continues to grow, this could of course change. Now let's talk about Newsmax's valuation and future outlook. On its second day of trading, Newsmax achieved a valuation of $34 billion. This briefly made it more valuable than the Fox Corporation. This was a meme stock rally completely disconnected from fundamental value. We already discussed that Fox News is still much larger than Newsmax TV. The Fox Corporation also owns other assets besides Fox News, including Fox Sports and a number of broadcast channels. In the first half of 2024, the Fox Corporation generated $6.5 billion of revenue, while Newsmax generated just $80 million. Even if you believe that Newsmax will grow and eventually become as big as Fox, they will never be as profitable. In a best-case scenario, Newsmax grows to become as big as Fox. Now you have two conservative news channels competing against each other on equal footing. Neither of them will be able to command the monopolistic carriage fees that Fox News garnered in the past. Remember that Fox News has been able to increase its revenue by taking a bigger slice of a smaller pie. But as the pay TV industry continues its decline, eventually the pie will become so small that even the biggest slice will shrink as well. Newsmax benefited tremendously from the perception among many Trump supporters that Fox News was not supportive enough of the president. Over the past year, especially after the 2024 election, Fox News has changed its tune. The few Fox anchors who were critical of Trump have all left. What remains on Fox is overwhelmingly pro-Trump. The brief Fox-Trump split created an opportunity for Newsmax to grow. This window of opportunity is rapidly closing. There's one last thing we have to mention before wrapping up this video. Recently, Newsmax launched its first international expansion with Newsmax Balkans. This is a Serbian-language news channel based in Serbia. From what I can tell, Newsmax Balkans is currently very small. Serbia does seem like an odd place to launch your first international venture. If anybody in the audience has any insights about Newsmax Balkans, please let us know in the comments section below. I myself don't really know what to make of it. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.